We're not taping, I think we're live. We don't tape, honey, that's old school.
That was old school. Welcome, y'all.
Hey, we're in the kitchen again. Hey, everybody.
Wow, that last part of your laugh.
We're so excited. No, really, we are. We're so excited because this is becoming quite the ritual and we are loving it. It's absolutely awesome because let me tell you why. When we're done and we say night-night, guess what we get to do? We eat dinner, so it's awesome. That's
Actually,
what you're going to do tonight.
Kind of in a little different way, though, so as we're getting started and folks are jumping on.
Yes. Hey. Oh, I posted earlier today. Tell us where you're watching from because I'm so curious. We have Naples, Florida. I think last week we had Atlanta, and we have LA. Y'all are everywhere, and it's awesome. So go ahead, baby.
Throw out some y'alls while you're there. You'll feel
Yes.
like you're in Texas. Some housekeeping stuff. So if you are cooking along, well, actually, let me first say if you're not cooking along, totally fine. So just follow, drink your wine, eat your dinner, just chill, enjoy. In fact, that's probably going to be the majority of the people watching. So those of y'all who decided to go ahead and risk it and get the ingredients, you're going to cook along with us. That's great. If you're tuning in late, maybe it's not Facebook Live for you, this is all going to work out the exact same way. You can save it for another day. Or if you just get tired of cooking while you're planning to cook along and you wanted to have some more wine or stop and get some dinner, by all means, don't feel obligated to stick along with us. On the cooking side, you can always tune back in. I guess it's not tuning since you corrected me earlier on taping.
We're not taping or tuning. You can watch us back because we're going to post this later anyway.
All right, so a few housekeeping
Hey,
things.
We have Frog Knot, Texas. I've never heard of
That's
that.
worth
But that's
talking about.
That's interesting. That's awesome. Dallas, TCU, Houston, Naples. Okay, we'll talk more.
All right, so to get started, Mise en place means we got all our stuff ready. So hopefully you got your stuff in your kitchen. You're ready to cook along with us.
South
First
Carolina.
thing.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be a long night.
Lantana.
So, how many of y'all have your ovens on right now per the directions we sent out? If you're cooking, if you're not cooking with us, you don't need to have your oven on. If you are cooking along with us and your oven's not on, go ahead and turn it on. If you have convection, it's 325. If you don't have convection, it's 350 on bake. And you know what? People always talk about preheating. For things that aren't really delicate, we don't always preheat. That's a no-no in the appliance industry. Many of my peers at the Gerald Company will give me a hard time for saying that. There's a good place for you to buy appliances, just as a side note. But when you're cooking this bread, I'm not even going to tell you what it is yet. It's not terribly important. If you forgot to turn on your oven, just turn it on now. It'll all turn out fine. Second thing is, we had a number of people asking, what is it? What are you cooking? What's it going to be tonight? I can't wait for dinner. This would be dinner for somebody with a sweet tooth. I apologize. We wanted to make it a little fun where folks didn't know like what we were doing. But we apparently had some people who thought that if you get sweet bread, sugar, honey, cream, berries, and white chocolate, that might be an entree. It could be. Yeah, that's an Amy entree for sure.
Yes.
But if that's not you, if you need to feed the kids something other than sugar tonight, pick up your phone, order Domino's, and by the time we're finished, it'll be here for them to eat. And then we can dive into what we're having tonight, which is something I have hated for many, many years until I did a little spin on it, and that's bread pudding. So I can't stand bread pudding. If you bought all this stuff and you didn't realize you were making bread pudding, I'm a little surprised, but that's good. It means you've got a lot to learn from tonight's cook along and for the future with our future classes as well. But it is going to be a bread pudding for bread pudding haters. I've talked about this for years, but now we're going to actually go through the technique. If you followed us and the show and cooked along with us in the past, this isn't new, but this is the first time for us to actually do some of the hands-on portion with it. So
I think it's going to be awesome.
turn your oven on, order a pizza. If you need to serve a savory dinner, grab a
Domino's
glass
with
of wine.
olives, please, and pepperoni. Oh, Little Elm, The Colony, Sugarland, Flower Mound,
Oh, goodness.
Canton, one of my favorite places to go and
You gotta
shop.
get us a deal.
Okay.
All right, so those of y'all that are cooking, we're grabbing. In fact, I did have one thing, babe. We had some people that were concerned the last several weeks
Yes.
about an abundance of caution. That we need to practice an abundance of caution here in the kitchen. And for a lot of y'all, an abundance of caution means a mask to cover your face, understandably. For me, a lot of the concern for the abundance of caution, recommendation
What?
was this. Because of the vent hood here, people have been a little concerned. And so
Wow.
tonight,
That's a lot.
I'm ready. I can headbutt it just like I used to back when I was a professional cyclist many years and many pounds ago. And I'm not going to bleed from the head like I did on show one.
Nice. It's really cute
Not
on you.
happening.
Can you just be careful? We talked about putting padded corners there, but we haven't done that yet.
We tried to
Actually,
raise up the hood earlier. It didn't
these
happen.
cooking classes have been a godsend because I think we're moving in the right direction to kind of spruce up the kitchen over here. So
And I know where.
we're gonna keep having classes.
Okay, grab your rolls, your bread, whatever it is. I try to make this as substitutable, if that's a word. I'm sure I'll be corrected by my teacher mom, professor dad, and many of their education friends who are watching. If you don't have the Hawaiian sweet rolls, take whatever bread it is and cut it about the same size that I'm going to show you here. And here's what we're going to do. So we're going to take a serrated knife on the cutting board, hold the knife parallel to the cutting board and to the surface, and we're going to go halfway down the middle. So halfway down the center. So that'll leave you with these two open halves, but we're going to keep them together.
Okay.
I'm going to keep them together. And then we're going to cut, each roll is going to get cut twice. Then we're going to cut in the middle where the rolls are together, and then two cuts over here. And using this approach is going to let you make fewer cuts, and if you cut it all into little pieces separate. So I cut 1, 2, once down the middle, and I'm going to do this again on the second set of rolls, and then 1, 2 here. I'm going to turn it sideways. It's pretty easy because I'm going to cut this twice on each roll and once down the center. If you don't have the Hawaiian sweet rolls, just roughly kind of cut it up about 3/4 of an inch, and if you mess up and it's 1.5 inches, if you cut too small and it's
Eat
1/4 of an inch, it'll be fine. This is going into
eat 'em.
bread pudding. That's why we don't have as much bread pudding tonight. Because you do.
Y'all doing
this.
okay with this? Is this fun? Are you cutting? You don't have to type and say yes. I believe you.
All right. So you can just take a regular cookie sheet. If you've been following along from some of the previous lessons we've learned on convection and evenness of cooking, if you don't have it, we can still use bake. The tips that we like using foil on our sheet tray. I'm going to use some parchment paper here. You don't have to. Just grab this bread and put it on. You don't have to use parchment. Keep cutting. So go on to that second set. I'm going to catch up with y'all in a second if you're getting ahead of me on the cutting of the bread. You don't have to use parchment on this one because it's unlikely that it's going to stick. If you haven't caught up with me on the bread or surpassed me already, again, we're going to take our rolls, we're going to cut them in half, we're going to turn them, and we're going to cut each roll once, twice, down the middle, then once, then twice. And we're going to turn it sideways. So now we've got basically these long strips of bread running perpendicular to where I'm standing. So when the knife goes down, I get these nice little dice pieces. Don't worry about perfection. Why are we using a serrated knife? Serrated knives are ideal for bread because you don't have to push down with them to cut, which would cause them to get smushed, for lack of a culinary school term. We don't want to mash the bread down. We're going to drop that. If you couldn't see, there's a foil-lined sheet tray over here.
It's just throwing at me.
Marsha Wolf asked the other day, or somebody, maybe it's Kathy Louder, one of our good friends, when I'm throwing stuff, where's it going? There's a trash can on the floor, and then there's the floor. And it sometimes makes the trash can, sometimes makes the
That's what dogs are for.
That's true, yeah. Daisy's
Did you need
locked
some
up.
help?
You put that in the oven. Okay, so you have your oven on, 325 convection, 350 bake. Either one, I prefer convection. We're going to put that in for about 5 to 10 minutes. It depends on how hot your oven is, so it could vary. We just want to dry the bread out a little bit. And this is a great use for old leftover bread that's not moldy, that we can get the most out.
Good idea.
All right.
Whitney mentioned your farm fresh eggs.
Yes, these.
These were freshly laid.
These are the labor of love that Amy has worked very hard with these chickens on. So we've got 6 eggs. If they're farm raised, then they don't have to be refrigerated. Just don't wash them until you're ready to cook with them. So we always crack the egg on a flat surface, such as a countertop or a cutting board. That'll keep the shell from going into the egg. You crack it on the side of the bowl, the shell gets shoved up into the egg. So flat surface. I will tell you, if you're using non-refrigerated eggs, like farm eggs, that they're real soft and supple. So that's the little spill that you were just...
Well, and the whites are extra runny. They're thinner. So they don't congeal, obviously, from not being in the fridge. So the whites run way faster than the ones you get at the store. But then exchange that for the big, vibrant yolks that are so good. So.
And you can still get some really high quality, you know, kind of artisanal eggs, rare breeds at the grocery store now as well. So I've got the eggs. Any dessert dish, I always add a little bit of salt to. Salt enhances flavor. We don't need enough where you're going to taste like it's salty. The other thing that salt does is it helps break down the egg. So when we mix this, the egg will actually break down, meaning it's not going to be as lumpy and stringy as it would be without the salt. Okay, we've got our whisk. That was on our list. Our bowl. We're mixing this up. I'm doing this before I put the cream in to make sure that it's all nice and smooth before we add the cream. So as Amy said, look at how beautiful those
well,
yolks
I am
are.
kind of a proud chicken mama.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, now if you don't want this as rich as we're making it, then you got the wrong ingredients. But what we could substitute instead of the cream, we could substitute a little half and half and some whole milk. As y'all probably know, one of our favorite places is Milk King Creamery. I believe we'll be making a field trip back there at some point in the not too distant future. Craig and Rihanna are big fans of us. We're big fans of them. And you can get their product in a lot of grocery stores if you are in Texas, not necessarily South Carolina. So I added that cream in. So I'm kind of letting y'all catch up if you're not already ahead of me. So we've got, this is a custard base. Now at this point, this is a base for anything.
Like what?
Like we've got sweet bread in there that we're going to make the bread pudding with.
Okay,
but if we had savory bread, I could add spinach and Parmesan, maybe some feta or goat cheese, a little bit of crumbled sausage, you know, anything savory, and that could be dessert. That could be breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner, you name it.
Sounds good.
And we can do it like we're going to see in a second in a little individual muffin tin. So
okay.
That's our base. So that's the cream and egg. Now we're going to add our sweetener. Giving a shout out to my mom and dad down in Sugar Land, Texas, where Imperial Sugar had kind of started from.
And it happens to be somebody's special birthday tomorrow. Papa Blackburn is having a special birthday.
Papa Blackburn is having a special birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday early, Dad.
So some of y'all are not cooking with us because you're doing salmon or you forgot an ingredient. So don't worry. Just chill and have fun with us and then cook this later.
If you bought salmon to go with this, it's going to be a little off.
That would be interesting. That sounds really good though. But we will, this video will stay on our page, so you can go back and watch it and cook the, you know, maybe make this when you're about to have company or something, and
Absolutely.
this be like a little surprise sweet for your guest.
Yeah, and we'll talk about how this can save. In fact, how we're going to do it tonight is going to make it real easy. So I'm going to take a little bit of local honey.
How much cream? How much cream was that?
That was 1 pint.
1 pint. That's right. I knew that. I bought the
You bought
ingredients.
But like I said, you can substitute half and half or whole milk. In total, we want about another 1/4 cup, so we could use the same 1/4 cup measurement. We could use honey, which I like local honey. It's good for allergies, good for bees, good for pollination. I also like the richness, so that was about half of a 1/4 cup, so 1/8 of a cup. And then the rest will be a little bit of maple syrup. Real maple syrup, not...
Aunt Jemima's?
I don't even know that exists anymore. But yeah, not the stuff that the ingredient, I don't know, is high fructose corn syrup.
Does anybody know if that still exists? I'm curious now. Really? We haven't bought it in so long.
It's been a while. All right, so that's our sweetness. Now we're going to bump up the flavor some. Some real vanilla extract.
Good vanilla.
Honestly, this is getting mixed in with so many things that if this is the time for you to use the less expensive stuff, then go for it. A little bit of cinnamon. So when we talked earlier about, I mean, asked, what else could you use this for? If we're not doing the berries and the white chocolate, then I could put in pumpkin pie spice in here.
How much is this again?
A quarter cup.
Quarter cup.
Pumpkin pie spice. I could put in
Nutmeg.
nutmeg would be part of that.
Oh,
Or
you could do it
separate.
so fallish.
And you could put in some
Can you do
pumpkin
some pumpkin and white chocolate?
with maybe some candied pecans. I pronounced that. Give a shout out to my friends in Louisiana.
Pecans?
Pecans.
That's what I call them, pecans.
Pecans.
Not pecans.
They're not pecans.
Here we go. We're going to open a whole can of
Where's-
worms. Let's don't do that one tonight. We'll do that one another night.
Oh, I bet.
But that's a great idea.
I bet
Could
we
be
got
the
some friends from the
fall.
Gilbert Pecan Company who
Pecan.
will agree that they're
Yes.
pecans. Okay, so that covered everything liquid-wise. So we've got our liquid base.
Okay,
Our bread's now ready.
It's been in there
So
6 minutes. You want it
I
out?
said 5 to 10, so I,
I
think
know. I'm
that's
watching
spot
the
on.
timer. I'm watching.
We just need to dry it out. It's not going to be rocket science on this, so don't worry if you leave it in a little too long or not long enough. You put it right there.
Okay.
Okay, one of the things that I love about using the foil on the sheet tray
Yes. The best.
is I just get to pick it up. So I'm only touching the foil, so the foil cools down immediately. We've got all that toasted bread right here, and I'm going to use a dish for this. A lot of folks don't have a big enough bowl to be able to mix this in, plus a baking dish.
It's a 9 by 13.
Yeah, just grab a casserole dish. It'll work just fine.
Everyone's got a 9 by 13, or you should have a 9 by 13. Because we do casseroles, right?
We don't.
I do
You
casseroles.
do casseroles,
I got
yes.
another one coming up soon. It's a tuna pasta ball something.
But I'm going to put microgreens on. Just to chef it up a little bit.
Sage, you could do sage on it.
Sage would be
Oh,
great for the
I digress. All right. How much extract was that? Do you recall?
About a teaspoon.
Teaspoon.
On these things and the cinnamon as well, just sprinkle a little in. We could taste it and adjust if you wanted to. Don't pour all the custard in the bread yet. I made the recipe for more custard than what we need for the regular Hawaiian loaf because some of y'all that are using some other breads, it might be that you have too much bread, and if you didn't get enough custard on it, now it's not going to be a bread pudding. It won't hold together. It'll kind of become a crumble. So
Depends on the bread you have.
and also it depends on how dry the bread is. So I'm going
Okay.
to stir this in. If, for example, you forgot to dry the bread in the oven, it's not the end of the world. It's just not going to absorb as much custard. So you're going to have more custard left over. Let's say you were using a couple-day-old bread.
Yeah.
So it's leftover bread, you didn't use it. Doesn't have to be Hawaiian bread, save anything. If it's going to be not a sweet bread like Hawaiian or challah, then we'll add a little bit more on the sugar and the honey to sweeten it up a little bit.
Okay. Do you need to toss or stir the bread cubes so that they dry evenly? We just kind of flatten them out evenly in the thing.
We got them as flat as we could.
Yeah.
Again, this is the best thing about this is we're doing like a chef's casserole. All this stuff gets mixed together.
Yeah.
I mean, I would make a casserole, but all this stuff gets mixed together.
Whatever.
And if you don't have everything perfect, it's truly not going to make the dish really change
won't ruin it.
at all. You won't even notice.
But
the
your mom
difference.
is calling you out on this. She wants to know about the muffin tin.
What about the muffin? Oh, we're about to use it.
Oh, we're about to use it, Mom. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah, we haven't used the muffin tin yet because right now we're just mixing this. So I'm looking at it and it's sat for a few minutes. In an ideal world, if we were in the restaurant industry, that would have been 15 to 20 minutes to make sure it's absorbed. Don't stir it up too much. We don't want some blended mess. Now, if you already did, it's still going to be delicious. So it's not too late. But I'd like to be able to see a little bit of the crumble, a little bit of the chunks of bread. I want to be able to see that. In an ideal world, it just looks prettier when it's served. If you already made a puree out of it, it'll still be just fine.
Okay.
All right, so for this one, it's funny because I made a batch earlier and I cooked it for about the same amount of time on the bread and it absorbed way more custard. I didn't have as much left over. Whatever custard you have left over, save it. We just don't want a whole bunch of liquid in the bottom, but we want it pretty evenly coated suck that in a little bit. And now that custard that's already done, you haven't used, put it in your refrigerator, hold good for 10 to 14 days, so I'm sure you'll have another opportunity to make some bread pudding.
Could you freeze it?
The custard I probably wouldn't freeze. Make more bread pudding and then
Okay.
freeze that, because that freezes.
Take it to your
really good.
neighbors and spread some love.
This is our white chocolate. So this was, I know y'all are asking about the sizes. This is a 12-ounce bag. They come in a variety of sizes. This is the most common. We're going to use a little less than half the bag. So again, not have to worry about too precise a measuring.
Okay.
If you don't like white chocolate, neither do I. If white chocolate isn't real chocolate, I agree. But this is going to sweeten it. It's going to melt into it. You won't even notice that it's really white chocolate. This is where we need to get a little cautious. So I did a test run earlier today, and it was a little bit messy. So don't use too many blueberries when you first put it in. We can put some on the top, but otherwise it becomes a blueberry crumble in your oven. And I don't mean it's crumbling into the bread.
Sounds good to me.
It's cleaning.
Oh, I'm not cleaning.
That's in one of the houses where if I cook, she cleans, or vice versa. So we're just going to take, if you truly bought a pint, your kids are going to have a lot of berries for the rest of the week. I took probably, if we had to use a measurement, about a half a cup of blueberries.
Put them in your smoothies.
Put them in your smoothies.
Frozen.
If you get 2 half pints, so a full pint of raspberries, we're going to use
Raspberries are still looking good right now. I'm impressed.
about the half pint there. Now, if you're doing this for a dinner party and you want this to look like super pretty, don't put the raspberries in now. Instead, put about 3 raspberries, shove them into the top of each bread pudding. And we did rinse these first, FYI, that's why they're a little bit wet.
The leaf didn't come off.
Oh, it's a leaf. Yeah.
I didn't want to eat that
You don't want
tonight.
that. You don't eat that for dinner tonight because we didn't order pizza. Okay. So we'll mix
Pizza
this
sounds
in.
delicious though. Okay.
Again, gently.
Do you know this is the first food I had that you made?
Is that right?
Yeah, bread pudding.
It's all history from there.
And I don't even really care for it, but I sure like that.
Yeah, I don't care for it either, honestly. But I do like it
Like it
like
a lot.
this. Here's why I like it. I like it if I'm one of the first 4 people in line. So if you don't have muffin tins and we just got a baking dish and you bake it straight in this dish, it's going to turn out great.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be awesome. If you want to do something a little more fancy, you could do like these, pretty little ramekins. This would be great for like dessert for 2, let's say.
Yeah, that's
So if you don't have the, what size is like your casserole dish, baby?
9 by 13.
We could use some of the loaf pans. Doesn't have to be the fancy one. Could be one of the little thin metal ones. All of these will be fine. But the reason that I don't like bread pudding is if I'm not one of the first 4 people in line to get this corner, that corner, this corner, or that corner, I don't want to eat bread pudding. Because it's a mushy mess. So we're doing it in individual muffin tins. Want to do this for an hors d'oeuvre or cocktail party? Do mini muffin tins. And you can cook them ahead of time. Put them onto your sheet tray with foil and parchment. And then just flash them in the oven. So put them in the oven at say 350 to reheat them for 5 to 10 minutes at bare room temp. For 10 to 12 minutes, maybe 15 if they're in your refrigerator.
Yeah.
And if you can freeze them, you never know the difference. Just let them defrost and then put them in 10 to 12 minutes.
Did you use more raspberries than blueberries?
Yes, I use more raspberries than blueberries. The blueberries have a lot higher moisture content. So as I was scrubbing out this pan at 6:27 p.m. trying to get ready because I only had the one pan, I realized I put too many blueberries in there. I went a little blueberry crazy. So we'll use some of these to garnish the plate with when we're ready to serve.
Do you need to spray that pan?
Okay, good question. Do you need to? No, you don't have to. If you have a non-stick pan, you don't need to at all. If you have a non-stick pan, though, you want to be careful when you're scooping the bread puddings out because
You'll scratch it.
you want to scratch it. If you don't have the spray, so I'm going to use the spray. If you don't have the spray, pretty easy solution. We could grab a little bit of butter out of the refrigerator, rub each one. We could also take a little bit of oil, paper towel, squirt that oil in the paper towel, and then just go through and rub each one. Just need a little bit of fat in there.
Really, that's all. It's about cleaning up. It's for me. It's about,
Well, and be able to get it out of the muffin tin.
yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do when we're going to put this in, we don't want one scoopful to have 14 blueberries, 3 raspberries, and 4 pieces of bread. And then the next one be full of bread and have 1 raspberry. Not so much about the appearance, but if we had too much fruit in there, it's going to be hard to get out. It's going to be real runny.
Okay. Could you use cupcake liners?
You could. You could use, was that your idea or somebody else's?
No, Miss Jean asked.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Was not thinking it was any of our male friends. I guess I don't think it cupcake liners. I think that's a great idea, Miss Jean. It has not occurred to me. We might give it a shot. My only thing would be to make sure it's a cupcake liner you've used before that's not prone to sticking. So we're filling the muffin tins. I say that like sometimes, you know, some of the really pretty decorative cupcake liners, when you go to pull them, they pull a lot of the cake part out with it.
Yeah, then you gotta like use your teeth to scrape that thing so you get every bite.
You can tell who didn't have to go to the health department to get all of her permitting and approvals.
I'm talking about for my own cupcake.
Oh, I thought you meant like when we were serving them.
No.
Like that time at that catered event.
Really, you're gonna say this now?
We feel like y'all are friends.
Y'all are friends
So now I
There's
know this is,
42 of you joining us. We're a really close group.
there are only 2?
I said 42.
Oh, 42. I'm sure this is going to bite me in the butt later.
Please don't say it.
I'm sure this is going to bite me in the butt later, but
Wow.
we were catering a party for friends.
They were friends.
They're all friends. And
I need
as,
a drink.
as we were plating up,
Garth Blackburn.
for the CEO of the company, I look over and
Stop
he's
it.
there hanging out with us and
You're really
talking to me, and I look in the background as somebody, one of our awesome, most awesome, the best staff member we had, goes to plate up and sees on the rim of the plate there's like food. So
It was a beautiful raspberry puree
and so
on
it
the edge of the plate,
had
about to
gotten-
drip off.
Totally. Had gotten on the edge of the plate, was
Helping
starting to drip
somebody.
off. And as many of y'all know, you always take like your towel and wipe the rim. And so when this particular staff member
Who
saw
knows
it,
that? Who knows that?
that's what's happening in the restaurant side. But so I realized when this person sees that there's raspberry puree on the rim of the plate, she didn't have a towel. So I was like, you know what? I guess you do what you got to do. She'd wipe the rim. It's like not kosher by the health department, but we're gonna go with this.
Oops.
The CEO's is getting ready to turn to get his plate,
Oh,
and then I see
gosh.
this staff member. It wasn't just that she wiped the rim with the raspberry puree. I saw this. I mean, she didn't have a beard.
Okay, all right. So
I didn't say who the staff member was.
what you're gonna learn right now is that I am the Lucille Ball of this
Oh,
generation.
totally.
Because I am the one that always falls down. Always falls down. I don't know why. I have
And
a
I'm allowed to
walking
laugh
problem.
at it. She
I
doesn't get
can't
mad.
say certain words because I have a speech impediment. This is true. And now it's true that I've been known to make faux pas that are socially awkward in front of CEOs. And I had no ill intention. I was trying to clean the man's
And you were hungry, so you killed 2 birds with one stone.
I was just trying to help a man out, but that's
Like,
what I get for trying.
You just didn't know what to do.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad y'all are getting a good laugh at my expense. I'm here all week. All week.
So, true story. Oh my gosh.
Oh, so now everybody
All right.
knows my bad. Knows my bad.
I'm sure that you'll have plenty more Garth stories.
Sky said we're friends. Let's hear the dirt. You just did. Consider yourself now family.
Okay, so I went back through. I filled 12 count muffin tin, and I filled them all like mostly full. That way I didn't have to go scrape some out. And then when I got done, I took some of the extra raspberries and blueberries that were left and some of the extra filling, and I put that in on the top. So you're gonna get a little color on the top this way. And because these berries kind of blow up, all that moisture, you might get just blueberry juice all over the pan like I did.
That's okay. Don't use your finger to lick it up.
Well,
It'll be hot.
that's the reason not to lick your finger. Put it on a sheet tray and at least put foil. Don't worry about parchment right now, but at least put foil on that sheet tray, and then anything that bubbles over is not going to require a cleaning of the oven. And at some point in the future, we'll talk about self-cleaning the oven, when to do it, when not to do it, and how not to cause a fire.
We have somebody representing from
Representing
Arizona, Miss Betty, who got stuck there because her truck broke down. So, I mean, I'm so sorry you're suffering for Jesus in Arizona. I know you haven't been there a long time though. Let's see.
So put it in the oven for 25. Oh, hold on. Am I low enough?
Yeah, you're low enough.
For 25 minutes at 325 on convection or 350 on bake. Back to my.
Back to me, Bob. Also, Whitney said that it was made with love by licking the spoon, and absolutely, I agree. That's just how we do it here. A little extra love. He didn't, thank God he didn't know the difference. Actually, he's the most gracious gentleman of probably the top 10 I know that are gracious gentlemen. You included, of course.
Oh,
baby.
okay. I'm glad it was a top 10, not like a number.
No,
one.
he's amazing. He's right. I mean, he is amazing.
But keep talking. He might know who we're talking about, and he might
No,
not quite feel the
that
same
would be
way.
my nightmare. Please, Lord, don't let this man ever fall down. I'd rather fall down in front of a bazillion people, which I have done before.
In a dress.
In a dress, in high heels. I've done that.
Well, actually, that's kind of something funny. So we mentioned earlier about going to Mill King. We're going to be doing some field trips in the future, and I will say that I might jump on a water buffalo. Amy has definitely been known to walk across a pasture in her heels and end up upside down in a dress once the heel sticks into a
I've learned to
cow
not wear my heels in the country anymore.
Wedges, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and my wedges. I don't wear my wedges in the heels anymore. But okay, baby. So that's in the oven.
Yep, so we're going to get ready for our whipped cream. So what you're going to bring out right now is going to be, if you wanted to participate, this was the optional side. It was a little bit of heavy cream. It was either a whisk, a stand mixer, a hand mixer, or a stick blender. A little bit of sugar, such as powdered sugar, or you could use regular if you don't have it. If we're going for a little alcohol punch on it, your favorite liqueur. So I'm using Frangelica because I think that nuttiness is going to go really good with the sweet richness of the bread pudding, but also the tartness of those berries. You can use anything you want. If you don't want to use anything with alcohol, we can substitute a little bit of Coca-Cola, a little bit of coffee, or nothing.
Your
Just put
dad
in
is
maybe a
using
little vanilla.
Godiva Grand Marnier.
Which one was it?
What is it?
Was it white chocolate liqueur?
Oh yeah, white, fancy schmancy over there. I didn't even know there was such a thing. But
So
that sounds good.
If you are doing this with us, this is where I am going to take a little bit of the shortcut. I'm not using, I think I put in to use like half a pint maybe. I'm using less than that. So I put it in to this little container because I'm using the stick blender that we talked about. It's one of our little gadgets that we use all the time. Put in a little bit of sugar. Basically whipped cream, what we want to make sure we do is we want to keep it cold. So I
Yeah.
pulled this out of the refrigerator just a second ago. And we want to make sure that we're getting air into it. If you don't have the stick blender, you could put it into your stand mixer or use your little hand mixer.
Yes.
Or if you want a good workout, and grab a whisk and get to working.
Old school.
Old school. If we're going this route, we want to get air in as quickly as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of float the stick blender in and out. And that's why I'm using a narrow vessel. You could use a water glass, a large cup. Something's going to say there.
We just had a question about, so do you cook the casserole longer than 25 minutes?
What?
I know what you're
This is
doing.
what it took 5 years of her repeating things multiple times. All right, we'll talk over it because I do want to show people they can actually get this done in a couple of minutes. So, are you going to cook it longer if you've got a casserole dish? Yes. How long depends on the size of the casserole dish. So, if we were using that large one, that yellow one that we had, that might only take 30 minutes, maybe 5 minutes longer because it was so thin. But if we're using that loaf pan, where it's going to be, 2.5 to 3 inches thick, that we might want to cover and cook for 35 to 45 minutes, and then uncover it there at the end to get a little browning on the top.
Did you put a whole pint of cream in that custard?
It sounds like a trick question and a judgy question. You did put a pint of dairy product. I use cream because we're splurging tonight. But if you want to make it healthier, you could use whole milk, half and half. I wouldn't use anything less than whole milk. Also, we're not adding the liqueur to this, to the cream, until we get peaks. So either soft or stiff peaks. Then we'll add a little bit of the liqueur. Or as I mentioned earlier, if we want to keep this non-alcoholic for the kids, we could put in a little bit of Coca-Cola, a little Dr. Pepper, a little coffee. Or if you're not using any of that, a little bit of vanilla extract or even almond extract would be great as well.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
And so I'm taking this in and out in order to get more air in it. And that air is what makes it fluffy. So like I said, if you don't have a hand mixer, substitute a stand mixer or your hand blender. What else you got, baby?
The fresh is so much better. I mean, in a pinch, I will buy Cool Whip. Of course. In a pinch, of course. But that fresh, you can't beat it. You just cannot beat it. And it makes your dessert so much fancier. Fancy.
I was going to say, did you pronounce that right? All right, so I've already got stiff peaks. I'm going to add a little bit of, like I said, for us, Frangelica, you can put in an extract or another liqueur. For this little bit, I'm only going to add a teaspoon or so. That's going to be plenty of flavor.
Yum.
All right, and we already have whipped cream.
Oh, it's nice and thick.
Yeah, so make it a little thicker, especially if you're going to make it early. There you go, baby.
No, I've already embarrassed myself tonight.
It's not gonna look
Nope, not gonna do it.
She kind of made a nod, like put it to the side. I'll do it when I'm off camera.
I did not say that.
No, I know what your little nod meant for.
That's not what my nod had meant.
All right. So this is kind of the stopping point, is where we've got a nice firm peak on there. Anything beyond that, you're going to have Frangelica and sugar sweetened butter. It's going to separate. You're going to get lumpy butter, and you're going to get the liquid, kind of the curds in the way approach, but the water's going to come out of it. So, okay, with that, we got the whipped cream, and I'm going to show you what we did ahead of time so that you could do this at home and make it easy for a dinner party, or make it for several consecutive nights and just knock it out early. Took us 30 minutes or less to make this.
You want me to
And
use that?
yeah, if you'll grab out of the bottom oven,
Yeah.
it's warm, so you want the hot pad. But you can make it ahead of time.
Oh.
That's awesome. And what I did was I popped them out, put them onto a sheet tray, and that's our foil and parchment so they don't stick.
Oh, that's so
And so now they're all perfectly done. The muffin tin is already washed, and it would be just as easy for me to double this batch and make 24 of them, let them cool down, put them in the freezer on the sheet tray if you have room. We don't, our freezer's packed. If you have room, and then once they're frozen, toss them into a Ziploc bag. They won't take up as much space. They're already hardened, so they're not going to make a mess, and they're not going to crumble apart. And that's pretty simple. So
That
you
looks
know,
so good. I mean, that
ours-
could have been a 4th of July thing with the red, white, and blue.
Totally, it very well could have been. I like the berry one just because I think it's easy and straightforward. But take it from there. If you want to do something fun for the kids, take your leftover Halloween candy, not Skittles per se, but maybe Reese's and Kit Kat bars,
Snickers.
Snickers, cut them up, put those in place of the berries and the white chocolate. That'll be your sweetener. That'll melt in. It becomes almost like a caramel on the top.
Wow.
It's really, really good and really, really easy, which is what I like. And hey, you're using the leftover candy. All right, so we'll do our little plate up.
We do want to mention we have a little something to share with y'all here in just a second. As soon as Garth, are we going to eat this or are we just going to wait? Is this
No, we're
dinner?
not. No, this is we're doing Facebook Live.
Is this dinner?
Oh, I didn't order the pizza. Did you order pizza?
No, I didn't order pizza, but I'm getting hungry. This might have to be my dinner tonight. That looks so good. It's so pretty. And a really pretty presentation. I agree with Garth. I think that needs to be done in the muffin tin. It just looks so much more appealing.
Well, and it's all caramelized on the outside. So think about this. Looks like I'm making dinosaur shapes. Think about this. When I put it in the muffin tin, it's already getting caramelized on the sides and the top individually. When I take it out and I put it on the sheet tray, and then we put it back in the oven, it gets even more caramelized and more crunchy on the outside. And because there's so much moisture on the inside with the egg and the cream or milk or half and half, it still stays nice and moist. All right.
You have just enough. Did you plan that?
No, I just didn't let go of it while you were in the room because I've learned that if there's whipped cream, there's a chance I'm going to come in and there's not enough whipped
That's
cream.
another story for part 2 next week. Another Amy faux pas, because Lord knows we got a list of them.
All right, so now we'll take our extra berries. We can garnish our platter
Oh, wow.
with these.
Fancy.
Got a little bit more of the raspberry side because y'all bought a pint of each.
I'm going to sneak a bite.
We'll drop these down.
Wow.
And then,
So pretty.
of course, that one, Marcia fell in the trash can. It just naturally fell on my foot and I kicked it into the trash. And then to chef it up some,
Because it's got to be chefed up, y'all.
I just pulled some mint from our garden.
Oh. That really does add a pretty finishing touch.
So if y'all are still finishing up, totally
I think
fine.
this side needs to be green over here.
If you're still cutting bread, we might need to talk. But if you're still like getting the muffin tins in and trying to make it look perfect,
That would be me. I would still be over here doing this.
that's totally fine. Oh, and the cooking tip I always show, we went over this in the very first demo, the very first class. Wet paper towel under the cutting board, that's how it didn't slide. Those sort of tips are things that
And you save them for wiping down the counter.
I just did wipe down the counter.
That's a great idea.
I thought so too.
That's a great idea.
So that's our finished plate up. I think that y'all can see it from there. Maybe I'll angle it over here a little bit.
So pretty. So pretty. Love it. And everybody did a good job. I'm seeing some comments that's like, hey, bring some over to my house. And that was
There's
fun.
a price for everything.
Is that peppermint? No, it's mint. It's mint. Mint, chocolate mint? No. Regular mint. Regular mint from the old garden.
My mom, the master gardener, would be the one to reach out to for answers on chocolate mint and all the different varieties of mint. We're just happy if it grows out green, regardless of whatever it is.
We're just like, oh my gosh, it's a miracle. We're not
And if
killing
the chickens
it.
don't eat it.
The chickens don't eat it, yeah.
All right, so with that, I will say that we had mentioned there's going to be a big announcement tonight. I thought if we had finished this part sooner, it would have been funny to ask y'all what you thought the announcement
Well,
was going to be.
I do have somebody that.
Did they
they're-
ask what I
they're-
was hoping they weren't going to ask? No, we don't have a date, if that's what you're asking.
No, no date.
And no, we don't have an addition to the family.
No. Honey child, mama's too old for that.
Oh, wow. That just makes me need to sip some wine.
But we do have something really fun planned for everybody, and we are actually launching our very first cooking club. We wanted to test this for 4 weeks with y'all and see if there was even an interest, and clearly there is. And we're so excited because we are launching a cooking club that we want as many people that want to be a part of it as can, so we can build a community around food. Obviously, a lot of us have been in lockdown or have had lots of time at home to cook and experiment with new recipes and baking and all kinds of trial and errors at home.
Or you've cooked the same meals again and again and the kids are finally done with it.
True that.
And you need some new ideas.
So we want to officially let you know first, before anybody other than a few kids and our parents, that we're launching our official Uptown Farmhouse Cooking Club. It's as a membership base, and we would love for anybody that wants to be a part of it to come on in. So it's going to look like this. Every week there'll be a live or taped, not sure, probably depending on holidays, but normally probably live cooking demo. There'll be kind of like we did the last few weeks, Garth showing a new recipe, an idea of something for something for dinner, tips and tricks along the way, of course, from his chef background, and of course I'm going to add in my home cook background.
Well, and also Amy's the one that runs all the stuff for our baby barn and our farm dinners. If you've seen those, you've been to them, and you've seen the amazing table decor with a lot of live branches and leaves and candles and everything else. There's going to be some of that as well.
Some
There's gonna be
entertaining tips on kind of how to do your holidays or festive occasions and things that I'm so excited about.
I was thinking the entertaining tip was like the tip where you're entertaining and you like wipe the rim of the plate.
You're
and lick it
ruining
off.
all my credibility. Stop it right now. Let's see, what else are you going to get? In this membership, obviously we're going to do the weekly thing like we've just been doing. But we're going to have a private Facebook page. So the people that are with us in our club, we're going to have a private page that only our paying members can be a part of, where you will get the weekly demos every week, the new cooking tips and tricks and the recipes, things that are going on seasonally. Then we're going to also look into taking some road trips, some field trips, and we're going to have you come along with us virtually to some farms and ranches in Texas, kind of like we
For
did.
chili?
Chili? Did I say chili?
Come along with us for chili.
Did I say that? Anyhow,
Virtually.
farms and ranches. Virtually,
Virtually.
not chili.
Oh.
Are you wanting chili tonight?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's have some
See,
chili.
that's how we think. We're like squirrel. We're always thinking
I
about
thought you were talking
food.
about chili.
So we want to do some road trips, like we did with Taste Texas.
If
But
you
we're going
watch-
to bring you virtually with us. So there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes because typically I'm the girl holding the camera, and
And there's a lot that
typically
happens.
I
behind the
love
scenes.
behind the scenes hysterical funnies. Let's see what
In
else.
Taste Texas, we had a bunch of that. So we've got to go on to a lot of farms, a lot of ranches. Got to meet folks like Blake with Honey Company, who is super high up now with the Texas Honeybee Guild and Association. And so y'all get to see how some of your food's made, grown, produced, harvested. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And the behind the scenes really is where Amy shines so much. I mean, we did fun interviews, but just the interaction with some of these farmers and ranchers are stories that some of them can't be shared publicly now anyway, because of some farmers and ranchers are real interesting folks.
Well, anyway, we want to bring you behind the scenes on some of those road
That's
trips.
cool.
Someone just asked Sally, sweet Sally, hey girl, she said, can we do some keto recipes too? And I've had a lot of that. Let me just be honest. I've been a Weight Watcher girl for a long time. It works for me when I'm being disciplined, and it doesn't work for me when he's around.
I was waiting on that.
But Mama's got to reel it in again here real soon.
So does Daddy.
Because the COVID weight has
So does
gotten our
Daddy.
britches a little tight. So, but with that being said, I mean, I typically like to cook and share the things that I'm eating. So yes, we'll go into some healthier ideas / restricting ideas to make food. Garth is, I will say, I'm blessed in that he knows how to make my boring food taste good without it being over the top, too much caloric intake for whatever I'm trying to do.
And that'll include things like keto, gluten-free, all sorts of different diets. We're going to work some of those in. I mean, we had fun the last 4 weeks just doing a free-for-all, but we'll also have some special segments that are specific to any dietary restrictions you might have. I can tell you, when we do a farm dinner now, if we have 50 people, there's at least 10 folks who have dietary restrictions. And so I want to make sure they're not getting some like extra side of mushrooms or more mashed potatoes. We want to make food that people love, regardless of what they're able to eat or not eat. That will definitely be a component of what we're going to be doing, which is a chef-driven, chef-inspired, fresh ingredient-driven, based on any dietary restrictions you might have, whether those are voluntary, such as diets, or whether they're some sort of food allergy. So yes, we're going to dive into that as well.
And Jennifer asked if we could take y'all on a field trip. I've always wanted to do that, a field trip to Central Market or a neighboring grocery store. We have our preferences, but we'll go just about anywhere because we do shop everywhere, just like y'all do. And yes, that is definitely already on my list to do a field trip to a grocery store. I want to go in deeper with y'all and do, how to organize your spice racks and do some things that I've kind of found that help for us in tweaking and organizing our kitchen. And I think what we're wanting to do is build a food community with y'all online. I think more than ever, I'm missing contact with seeing our people that would be coming to our dinners by now. I know y'all are probably missing us. I hope you are. And
At least the food.
so I know that online communities kind of help a little bit fill that need. And so building this Uptown Farmhouse Cooking Club is going to take some time, obviously, but we are just beyond excited and want to serve y'all in our area of gifts and talents. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to offer this membership at $20 a month. This is all brand new to us, and so what we're going to do is just allow that to be the price that y'all will be grandfathered into. Over time, as we relaunch this, it'll go up. So it's going to be a private group. Not anybody can just jump in whenever they want to jump in. We'll have this open kitchen, as you call it, or we call it. The open kitchen will be until Tuesday, the 22nd, for y'all to decide whether or not you want to be a part of this. If you can't right now, we completely, trust me, completely understand that. But maybe later you can jump in. But for the ones that do want to jump in now, it'll be $20 a month. And all you need to do is email me. We'll work out the logistics. I'll get all your information as far as credit card and things like that. And then we'll get you going in our private group that we've already set up for you. It's already set up and it's ready to go.
And if you don't have Amy's email address, which is Amy at Uptown Farmhouse, or you're juggling Domino's, wine, and trying to figure out if your bread pudding's done, then you can shoot us
anything right now.
Shoot us a direct message on Facebook, which is you're on right now, or if the whole direct message thing is even too complex, you can just post a note and just say, hey, contact me, or hands up, or something else. But fastest way is going to be the email or direct message. And this feels like we're going to start receiving cassette tapes, like 25 of them a month. And,
what are those, Gar?
And only the 3 good ones. You want me to sing some Johnny Cash?
No, that'll be me.
Okay, you're going to sing Johnny Cash.
I'll sing June's part. You do his part.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that. You're not going to be receiving unnecessary information. And so where this is all about having some fun in the kitchen, in the grocery store, in the farms and the ranches, getting some tips and ideas, and really to get y'all gathered together, both here in our kitchen as well as out there, and then amongst each other.
And maybe you'll be privy to some early wedding information. I don't know.
Or me shaving my beard. All sorts of fun. Not in the kitchen. That'll be completely separate.
Oh God, please don't do that. All right, so we are going to post this recipe. We're going to post the one from last week. If you remember, we did that delicious beef tenderloin, and he put that with those roasted veggies, butternut squash and sweet potato and bell peppers and red onions. Oh my. And then he put a fried egg on top of that. That was really such an easy recipe. It was easy to watch. And I want to make sure y'all have that as well. So that'll be going up on this Facebook page here in the next couple of days. I'm waiting on a good picture of it because I didn't get the good picture. So let's see. Anything else? Any more housekeeping? I can't think of anything. We're just excited, and we cannot thank y'all enough for just being with us during this time in the kitchen. And it's fun, and we hope and pray that y'all are having as much fun as we are, because really, we're here to serve you. That's what it's all about. How's that? Oh Lord, did they burn? Nope, they didn't burn.
Oh Lord, did they burn?
No, they didn't burn.
Yeah, y'all want to join our club? Oh my gosh, he just burnt the bread pudding.
What better class to be in?
Okay.
Not to burn.
So you can probably see these got fluffed up. They just barely didn't drip over the edge with the blueberries. Hopefully those of y'all that cooked along with us, it turned out the same.
Oh, those are pretty.
Don't try and pull them out now. They're going to be too soft. And I pulled them about 2 minutes early just so y'all can see them. If you don't do all the berries, if we're doing like one of the Halloween candies, we can pull them out pretty early, and they're like a souffle. The reason we can't pull these out early is there's so much moisture in the raspberries and the blueberries that it makes them really soft, and if they haven't set a little bit, then you're just going to tear it into pieces.
Yeah, they need to cool.
But if you don't have the berries, it's awesome to serve these straight out of the oven and have it like a little bread pudding souffle.
So pretty.
Not ready for that? Do what we did. Put them onto a sheet tray, refrigerator freeze them, and then just put them in the oven to cook through, and you'll get something that easy with really, we did it in 25 minutes, honestly, plus the cooking time.
Good job. All right. And we did go a little over tonight, but we did want to share that exciting news with y'all. So we look forward to getting your emails. We're going to keep this idea open for you to think about and make a decision by Tuesday the 22nd. You'll be grandfathered into that price of $20 a month, and then we're going to give you all the fun in the kitchen you probably ever wanted.
Is this
So,
a new shirt?
yeah.
Did you not take the tag off?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Kurt Blaker.
All the same, she said behind the scenes, we're just starting early.
Oh my God.
It's not like you
You
were
need to
going to
say-
return it.
No, I love my jacket. As a matter of fact, it's from Target, so thank you. I love my jacket. I just need to take the tag off. I put it on so fast tonight to get ready for. Okay.
I'm
All
just
right.
putting
Let's
into
say goodnight,
this.
Sappy.
What-
Good night.
what do I-
Say good night, honey. I know.
Good night, honey.
Night, night.